India, a very good evening. Welcome to Rupavahini News. I'm Chamindi Samarasekara.
Hello there, good evening and a warm welcome indeed. I'm in Rajaj Surya. We start off with a look at the headlines for tonight. The President directs authorities to further expand the Ranaviru welfare program. The Prime Minister, whilst outlining the country's investment plans to Singapore businessmen, says there was no way for casino investments in the island. 4 faculties kept closed in the Jaffna University have been reopened. Power and Energy Minister agrees to a parliamentary debate on the coal tender process. Over 50,000 people have been rounded up, sacked or suspended from their jobs in the wake of Turkey's failed coup attempt.
On to those and other stories in detail now. The housing program for war heroes who sacrificed their life for the country's sovereignty and territorial integrity is to be further expanded on a directive issued by President Maithripala Sirisena. The President has taken this initiative when he attended the Defence Ministry Progress Review meeting as the subject minister today. The meeting was held at the Defence Ministry in Colombo with the participation of the President as the subject minister. He focused his attention on future program and activities of the ministry. He also issued instructions to implement welfare programs for members of the 3 armed forces in more active manner. Discussions were also centered on the construction work of Army Headquarters building at Akureguda in Battaramulla, as well as coast conservation project being implemented with the assistance of the Sri Lankan Navy. The President also instructed to set up cadet troops in all schools with the aim of building a disciplined future generation. State Minister for Defence Ruwan Wijayawardena, Ministry Secretary Karunasen Hettiarachchi and several defence heads were present at the Progress Review meeting.
In the meantime, Provincial Councillor Hewa Valallage Gunasena has been appointed as the Fisheries, Animal Production and Development, Environmental Affairs, Rural Industries, Power and Rural Estate Infrastructure Facilities Development Minister of the Southern Provincial Council. The relevant appointment letter was handed over to Mr. Gunasena by Southern Province Governor Hemakumar Nanayakkara at the Presidential Secretariat in the presence of the President. Southern Province Chief Minister Shan Vijayalal De Silva was present, and Provincial Councillor Hewa Valallage Gunasena has been appointed to the post of Southern Province Minister of Fisheries and several other subjects to fill the void created by the removal of Provincial Councillor D.V. Ipul, who held this ministerial portfolio earlier.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says no investor will be allowed to start casino business in Sri Lanka. He was responding to a question raised at the business forum held at Shangri-La Hotel in Singapore. This business forum was organized by the Singapore International Enterprises Organization. Addressing the Singapore's business community in a business dialogue, the Sri Lankan Prime Minister reiterated that the using of casino business for the country's development was not the policy of a good governance government. Several leading entrepreneurs in Singapore representing various fields attended the forum. Ministers Mangala Samarveera and Malik Samarvikrama explained the future investment opportunities in Sri Lanka. Singapore Minister for Trade and Industry S. Ishwaran told the gathering a conducive environment for investment with confidence is now being created in the island. He added that the Singapore government will extend its assistance for entrepreneurs who will make investments in Sri Lanka. Attention was focused on feasibility of investments in several fields including industries, tourism, energy, housing, environment and town planning. A memorandum of understanding between Sri Lanka and Singapore, Sabana Jurong, was signed by Sri Lankan High Commissioner in Singapore, Nimal Weeraratne, and the Chief Executive of the Sabana Jurong Group of Companies, Wong Hiang Fing. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and the Sri Lankan delegation participated in a river tour and inspected development projects being implemented in close proximity to the river. The Sri Lankan Premier noted that Sri Lanka wants to rejuvenate Beara Lake in the heart of Colombo, and the country could gain experiences of these projects for the development of areas surrounding the lake. Former Singapore Prime Minister has initiated the Singapore River Development Project. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, Professor Maitri Wickremesinghe and the Sri Lankan delegation visited the National Museum of Singapore yesterday. Several paintings and documents with ancient value are being displayed at the museum. The Sri Lankan Prime Minister returned to the island in the early hours of today, successfully ending his 3-day official visit to Singapore.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says anyone can present their views and proposals on behalf of the country's national reconciliation. He was responding to a question raised by MP Wimal Weerawansa in Parliament today. Parliamentarian Wimal Weerawansa said that there was a media report on the establishment of a task force for national reconciliation and the former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga is the head of this task force. He asked as to whether this news report is correct or not. Prime Minister Wickremesinghe said that he was unaware of creating such a task force by former President Chandrika Bandaranaike. He noted that he can ask about it from her and convey it to MP Wimal Weerawansa. He asked as to whether MP Weerawansa was against reconciliation or not. If he is not against it, then there was no problem of heading the task force by Chandrika, Mahinda Rajapaksa or any other person, he said. No one is against them for conducting their own discussions, and these people have stated that the country's army will be sent to war tribunal when the UN Secretary General visited the island nation. Thereafter, they told the Darusman Commission that a case will be filed against a person who proposed to them. And President Maithripala Sirisena, who left them and came to the right side, everyone had escaped from the war tribunal. He asked MP Wimal Weerawansa as to whether he is in favour of reconciliation or not.
අන්තිමට මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන මැතිතුමා අයින් වෙලා ආවේ නිසා අපි ඒ යුද්ධාධිකරණ ඔක්කොම බේරිලා ඉන්නේ දැන්. ඔබතුමා මට කියන්න සංහිඳයට පක්ෂ
Power and Renewable Energy Minister Ranjit Siyambalapitiya says the report of the three-member committee appointed to probe any loss caused to the country through the coal tender process is to be obtained on the 29th of this month. The minister made this disclosure in a special statement to Parliament today on coal purchase procedure. Minister Ranjit Siyambalapitiya told Parliament 2.2 million metric tons of coal is needed per year to operate Norachole coal power plant with full capacity of 500 megawatts. This coal stock could only be transported during the period of September to April, where there was no rough seas. This was carried out during a period of 7 months. The first tender was cancelled as a single bidder has quoted a high price in 2009. Thereafter, 5 tenders were made till the year 2015. All these tenders were given to Noble Resources Company. The creating of coal shortage has become a normal phenomenon as the supply has failed to provide the collected stock of coal. During this period, there was a problem in the supply of coal and the Ceylon Electricity Board had to face several problems. A 3-member committee comprising professors have been appointed to inquire into the coal tender procedure and submit a report. He said that he is planning to obtain the report before the 29th of July and thereafter take necessary action.
A meeting of SLFP electoral organisers was held in the SLFI in Colombo yesterday. The meeting was held under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena and in the presence of former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga. Future actions of the SLFP were discussed at the meeting attended by all electoral and district organisers of the party. Minister Chandimal Veerakkodi said that future activities, especially the SLFP convention, were discussed at the meeting. Organisers of various areas expressed divergent views and it was a successful meeting. Minister Vijay Munisoy noted that discussions were mainly centred on as to how the party will go forward, finding solutions for challenges confronting the SLFP, which is facing the local government election. Minister Dumini Desanayake said that the attendance at the meeting was very good and 127 SLFP organisers out of 130 were present at the meeting. VAT amendment was not discussed at this meeting, but a lengthy discussion was held separately with Minister Ravi Karunanaike and Treasury officials. The proposals on VAT amendment made by the SLFP is to be handed over to the President. They also discussed as to how the future decisions are to be taken by the SLFP and the UNP in the national government in making such decisions without burdening the people. Minister Mahinda Amaravira pointed out that one group was of the view that foreign aid to the country should be completely halted and destabilize the country. But the SLFP and the Good Governance government is against it. It is essential to collect revenue for the country through the levying of certain taxes without burdening the people. The group, which is involved in the May Day preparations, has made a request to conduct a separate meeting with them. This meeting will take place in the future and new electoral organisers will be appointed soon, he said.
Governor of the Northern Province, Reginald Kure, told a media conference in Colombo today that the rule of law should be allowed its due course irrespective of racial or religious differences with regard to the clash at the Jaffna University. Governor of the Northern Province, Reginald Kure, noted that this unruly incident has brought a black mark and a great damage to the country's accepted policy of reconciliation. Several persons were given an opportunity to spread their extremist ideology in the country. There was a possibility of spreading this ideology in the south and the north, as well as among Sinhalese and Tamils. It could also be spread to international level. One side has complained that Sinhala students had carried out the attack in conjunction with the Sri Lanka army. These Sinhala students have the right to perform their cultural event. Everyone has accepted the fact that a wrongdoing was committed by not allowing the Sinhala students to perform their cultural event. Sri Lanka is a country which has equal rights for all religions, communities and all cultures. No one should violate it. Two actions were taken with regard to this incident. One was to appoint a committee at university level to take necessary action. The other is to take legal action against the person responsible for inflicting injuries on a university student irrespective of racial or religious differences.
The University Students' Council leader who was accused of clashes in the Jaffna University has been released on bail today when he was produced before the court. Several faculties which were kept closed at the university were reopened today. Academic sessions of medical and agriculture faculties as well as other faculties were resumed. It was conducted under normal circumstances. Discussions on the present situation were concluded successfully yesterday as students who left for their residences returned to the university today. Students lauded the authorities for creating a conducive environment for all students to continue their education peacefully and in unison. Students said that the academic sessions in the medical faculty resumed in a normal manner. All students were greatly saddened irrespective of racial or religious differences on the incident which took place at the university. Everyone has resumed their education understanding the situation and they thanked everyone who contributed their share to solve the problem.
ஒரு பொதுவான ஒரு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் ஒரு ஒருங்கிணைப்புக்கு வந்து அனைத்தின மாணவர்களும் ஒன்றாக கல்வி கற்க முனைந்துள்ளோம். இந்த சுமூகமான சூழலை மறுபடியும் ஏற்படுத்தி தந்த அனைவருக்கும் நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம்.
Dean of the Faculty of Medicine of Jaffna University, Ravi Raj, said that academic sessions at the university resumed today. Student attendance was satisfactory and he thanked everyone who extended their support to settle the clash. He said that he is proud of the settlement of this issue peacefully.
இதற்கு கடந்த சில நாட்களாக இது மூடப்பட்டிருந்தாலும் சகலரது ஒத்துழைப்புடன் இது மீண்டும் இயங்க ஆரம்பித்துள்ளது என்பதை பெருமையுடன் சொல்லிக்கொள்ள விரும்புகின்றேன்.
The Jaffna University Student Council leader appeared before court today following a directive of the police in accordance of the information received from the injured student who is receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital. He was released on bail and the case was postponed until the 25th of next month.
The government says the construction work of all infrastructure facilities, including new administration cities under the Murugahakanda project, is now underway. These infrastructure facilities are necessary for the resettlement of families who will be evacuated, making way for the construction work of Murugahakanda and Kaluganga reservoirs. 31,000 families will be benefited with the completion of this massive irrigation project. The water capacity of the reservoir being built under the Murugahakanda Kaluganga project is 660,000 acre-feet. The depositing of fresh items at the launch of the construction work of Kaluganga Reservoir Bund will take place at a ceremony which is to be held on the 25th of this month under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Irrigation facilities will be provided via a 78-kilometer canalway to Huruluya, Mahakanadarawa, Mihintale and Kabitigollave areas. Paddy cultivation is to be carried out in Matale, Anuradhapura and Polonnaru areas using irrigation facilities of Kaluganga Reservoir. This project is to accord priority to inland fishery industry, power generation, drinking water projects, multi-crop cultivation and several other agri-schemes. It will pave the way towards the creation of attractive tourism zones in the area. Another objective is to minimize flood damage being experienced annually in Manampitiya and Somavati areas.
The World Bank pledges that it is ready to extend fullest support to achieve economic targets in Sri Lanka. This pledge was given by the new World Bank country director for Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Dr. Ida Swarai Ridao, when she called on Finance Minister Ravi Karunanika in Colombo today. The meeting of the new World Bank country director and the Sri Lankan Finance Minister was held at the Finance Ministry in Colombo this morning. Ida Swarai said that Sri Lanka is moving forward successfully by overcoming economic challenges. Minister Ravi Karunanika noted that the World Bank's confidence on Sri Lanka was a great strength for the country's upcoming development process. The new World Bank country director for Sri Lanka will assume duties from next month, and the present country director Francois Klotz and the Treasury Secretary Dr. R.H.S. Samaratunga were present. Meanwhile, the World Bank has granted a loan facility of $55 million today for Sri Lanka's Strategic Cities Development Project. The agreement was signed by the Treasury Secretary and Ms. Francois.
The daily service at the historic Sri Dalada Maligav in Kandy has been handed over to Asgiri Mahavihare from Malmatu Mahavihare today in accordance with ancient traditions and customs. The vesting of the daily service from one Mahavihare to other take place on Asala full moon Poy day every year. The trusteeship of the Sacred Tooth relic will be vested in this manner for the upcoming year. The Asgiri chapter should carry out all activities of the Asala Perahara festival. Diyavarna Nilame Pradeep Nilanga Dala was present. The Kandy Asala Perahara festival will begin on the 8th of August after cup planting ceremony on the 3rd of August.
And now we deviate momentarily to take a quick look at the U.S. election race. Today is the third day of the Republican National Convention in Cleveland, Ohio. Senior Republicans speak in favor of Donald Trump, blaming the presumptive Democrat nominee Hillary Clinton. This is our segment on the election, the battle for the White House.
We passed a bill to finally build the Keystone Pipeline. Obama vetoed it. Donald Trump would sign it. We passed a bill to defund Planned Parenthood. Obama vetoed it. Donald Trump would sign it. And on that sad day when we lost Justice Scalia, I made another pledge that Obama would not fill this seat. That honor will go to Donald Trump next year.
Into the life everyone can find with opportunity and independence, the happiness of using your gifts, and the dignity of having a job. And you know what? None of this will happen under Hillary Clinton. Only with Donald Trump and Mike Pence do we have a chance at a better way.
Hillary Clinton is the definition of status quo. We need a leader who shapes the future. The Democrats won't bring the future because they are stuck in the past. When innovation has brought more power to the people, Democrats want more power for Washington. When innovation advances technology, Hillary Clinton uses it to put American secrets at risk. This is not the path for our country. Electing a Republican Congress, Donald Trump, Mike Pence, we can build a better America and make that shining city on the hill bright again.
Let's have a look around Asia in 1 minute. Pakistan authorities arrest Mayor-elect of Karachi Wasim Akhtar and 2 other prominent opposition politicians, accusing them of aiding criminals and militants. Buddhists across Thailand gave offerings to local temples as they celebrated Asancha Bucha Day on Monday and their religion's version of Lent yesterday. Taiwanese fishermen prepare their boats to sail for Taiping Island in the South China Sea to claim its sovereignty and protect their fishing rights. The oldest known written record of the royal protocols of the Joseon dynasty composed in the Korean alphabet Hangul was recently discovered in France. a traditional Japanese hot spring luxury hotel opened today in the heart of Tokyo's business district. Now for a short break, we'll be back with more local stories.
Welcome back and continue with news here at home. The examinations department says the conducting of tuition classes, seminars, workshops and printing of model papers targeting students sitting for the 2015 GCE advanced level examination has been prohibited with effect from the 27th of July to midnight on the August 27th. In a statement issued by the Department of Examinations said that the organizing or conducting tuition classes, special lectures, seminars, workshops as well as printing model question papers, distributing them and promoting them through any form of media and even the possession of such papers are prohibited during this period. The department warned that legal action would be instigated against any institution or individuals who disregard these instructions. Complaints should be launched at nearby police stations or the examination department if anyone is found violating these regulations.
Pre-Congress workshop on political initiatives impacting health, Have We Succeed in Our Advocacy, was held in Colombo today. It was organized to coincide with the 129th anniversary of International Medical Congress of the Sri Lanka Medical Association to be held on the 24th of this month. The workshop was attended by doctors, medical sector authorities, government and opposition politicians. The aim is to improve health policy formulation that would lead to better health outcome for the people of Sri Lanka. The attention was focused on many important issues impacting health in Sri Lanka, such as the increasing burden of non-communicable diseases and natural disasters.
Our government has inherited two institutions providing medical education. The final product of these institutions must be validated for effective service to society. This is not a problem we have created, it's a challenge we have to overcome. The Sri Lanka Medical Association, one of the country's most respected professional bodies, working beyond the narrow interests of its own profession, should impress on government the way forward.
Good health is potentially achievable by almost all individuals. If appropriate circumstances are in place throughout life span, living longer healthily is a fundamental right of all in the society. It is the supreme expectation of all. Government should play the biggest role in realizing that potential and expectation and serving justice to that fundamental right. Why? Because determinants of health spans over a variety of sectors and disciplines, and only a dedicated government can mobilize and put all of them in line.
You're watching Rupavahini News, and in other stories, Sahasara pilot project was launched from the central province today with the aim of providing an efficient passenger transport service. This project is being implemented in Kandy, Kaduganawa, Kandy, Theldenia roads and nearby subways. 355 buses were given necessary facilities to implement this project. The Sri Lanka Transport Board, transport authorities and bus owners will be benefiting from this prepaid card methodology. It will help to prevent the bus driving in snail pace or reckless driving in competition with other buses. The closed-circuit television camera system will provide maximum protection for bus commuters. The buses involved in the project are covered by GPS service, and it helps to implement a proper timetable. The inauguration program of the Sahasara pilot project was held in Pallikale, Kandy under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena recently. It is being implemented jointly by the Presidential Secretariat, Transport Ministry and the Central Province Passenger Transport Authority. It will be expanded countrywide following the success of the pilot project.
Deadly accidents involving children due to small mistakes are still being reported in the country, although constant attention was focused on child safety. In another tragic instance, a small girl has died after falling into a pond at her house in Talgampala Gaol yesterday. A small girl, Chatumi Netsari, aged 2 years and 11 months, has met with this tragic accident when she fell into a small pond at her house. Her mother has found Chatumi's body at the pond when she went for searching her to give her lunch.
And to wind things up on local news, the all share price index closed at 6,414.49 points, decreased by 1.32, and the S&P SL20 index closed at 3,422.19 points, also increasing by 10.43 points at the end of trading in the Colombo Stock Exchange today. Turnover was over 576 million rupees. That's it from local news. A look at international news is coming up next. Welcome back. It's time to take a look at the situation in Turkey as more than 50,000 people have been rounded up, sacked or suspended from their jobs by Turkey's government in the wake of last week's failed coup. The purge of those deemed disloyal to President Recep Tayyip Erdogan widened on Tuesday to include teachers, university deans and the media. The government says that they are allied to US-based Celeric Fethullah Gulen, who denies claims and he directed the uprising. Turkey is pressing the US to extradite Mr. Gulen, and the issue was raised during a phone call between US President Barack Obama and President Erdogan on Tuesday, the White House said. Spokesman Josh Earnest said a decision on whether or not to extradite would be made under a treaty between the two countries. A Turkish government spokesman suggested that the US should be able to extradite the Celeric on grounds of suspicion rather than requiring facts of the case against him. For his part, Mr. Gulen's claims that he was behind the coup attempt are ridiculous. And now for a quick look at the world of sport. Australia beat Sri Lanka Cricket Board Presidents 11 by an innings and 162 runs in the three-day warm-up match played at the Pisara Oval Stadium in Colombo today. Sri Lanka Board Presidents 11 batting first bowled out for 229 runs. In reply, Australia made 474. Steve O'Keefe top scored with 78. Shahan Jayasuriya took 5 wickets for 110 runs. Australian spinners have set in motion a dramatic collapse of Sri Lanka to close score of 83 runs in their second innings, and Shahan Jayasuriya made 29 and Nasela Gunaratne 23. Steve O'Keefe collected his second 5-wicket haul of the match in only 6.5 overs, giving out 21 runs. Naveen Hinakankanamge of St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, has been given the captaincy of the Sri Lanka team participating in the Under-18 Asian Junior Rugby Tournament. Sports Minister Dasit Jayasekara has approved the 12-member Sri Lankan Under-18 Rugby squad, and the tournament will be held in Hong Kong on the 23rd and 24th of this month. Sri Lanka is in the B group with Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia and Mongolia.
US tennis player Sam Querrey gave his countryman Bojan Fantangelo a birthday present he might not want to remember by beating him in the second round of the City Open in Washington yesterday. It means Querrey avenged his loss in the French Open to Fantangelo. But the 8th side had to fight back after he lost the first set with 23-year-old Fantangelo taking the tie-break before Querrey railed to a 6-7, 6-4, 6-4 victory. Querrey, who ended Novak Djokovic's 30-match major undefeated streak at Wimbledon, will next face number 11 seed Alexander Doplagov of Ukraine, who ground out a narrow 6-4, 1-6, 7-6 victory of Australian Jordan Thompson. Elsewhere, Britain's Daniel Evans continued his own run of good form with a 6-4, 6-4 victory over Bulgarian and former top 10 player Georgios Dimitrov. Weather forecast, the Met Department says very strong winds can be expected in the southwestern parts, hilly areas and in the western and southern sea areas during next 2 days. A few showers will occur in the western Sabaragamu and central provinces and in the Gaul, Matra and Jaffna districts. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the eastern and Ur provinces after 2 p.m. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere.
Well, that's it from Rupavahini News tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. More stories tomorrow at the same time. Until then, good night.